Dividends are a great way to create a passive income stream, and I'm only investing in income producing assets. Want to know what I got paid in February of 2026? Stick around. Cue the classical music. Welcome back everyone. I'm the Swedish dividend investor. So, it's that time of the month where we go through what my investment paid me. As always, this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing my investing journey and my analysis. Make sure to read the disclaimer in the video description. So, starting off with the performance. I have two different portfolios. My main portfolio and my high yield portfolio. These are not retirement accounts or anything like that. So that means I could withdraw cash whenever I want to. My total portfolio value is 1,418,118 Swedish crowns. At the recording of the video, the dollar is 9.03 Swedish crowns. So the total value in US dollars is $157,045. Why do I convert it to dollars? I have an international audience and the dollar is kind of well known. Starting with the year-to-date performance for the main portfolio, we can see I'm up 6.69%. So a pretty decent return so far. Switching over to my high yield portfolio. I know, big oof. I mainly hold BDCs, business development companies, and they have been hammered lately. But I'm not that worried. BDCs had some stellar years since the rate hikes, and now they are in for some bad times. The ups and downs of the market cycles. We can see I'm down 11.93% year to date. With that out of the way, let's go through my payments. For the first week, I received 6 payments. First out is Capital Southwest, ticker CSWC. It's a monthly paying BDC and a pretty old one. It's part of my high yield portfolio, where I invest for an average 10% yield and the goal of getting $100 per month on average after taxes in income. So my 80 shares each paid me 0.1934, so a total of 15.47. But since taxation is theft, we need to part with some money. In the case of American stocks, it's 15%, so we need to part ways with 2.32, which lands us at a net payout of $13.15. Sweet. Another BDC coming up. Gladstone Capital, ticker GLAD. Another monthly paying BDC. Now, this one is a roller coaster, up, down and all around. That gives us some decent chances to stock up on more. My 95 shares each paid me 0.15, so a total of $14.25. And yet again, the greedy taxman need his cut. So we subtract 2.14 and we land at $12.11. Time for the last BDC for this month. Pennant Park Floating Rate, ticker PFLT. Yet again a monthly paying BDC. I used to own this in my main portfolio until that broker stopped the ability to buy BDCs. Anyway, my 170 shares each paid me 0.1025, so a total of 17.42. And yes, we do have to pay taxes on this one as well. So we remove 2.61 and we get a net payout of $14.81. Next up, a Swedish real estate company. Cibus Nordic Real Estate, ticker CIBUS, on the Stockholm Stock Exchange. I usually say Sweden's very own Realty Income. They pay monthly and they focus on real estate for grocery stores and grocery companies. My 443 shares each paid me 0.7399 Swedish crowns, so a total of 327.79 Swedish crowns. Now, I don't pay taxes on dividends from Swedish companies, so no theft fee, but we are going to convert it to US dollars. So we divide 327.79 with 9.03 and we get $36.3. Coming up, a monthly paying ETF. Han ETF, Infrastructure Capital Preferred Income ETF, ticker PFFI or ASWN. Now, this has quickly sailed up as a favorite of mine. This ETF invests in preferred shares. Preferred shares usually have a fixed dividend and a stable share price. My then 310 shares each paid me $0.1339, and I don't have to pay any taxes on dividends from my ETFs domiciled in Ireland. So the total payout is $41.5. Awesome. Next up, telecommunication. Verizon, ticker VC. I actually sold this one after getting the dividend. They had a massive jump at the end of January, and I saw something else that had better potential for my goals. My then 41 shares each paid me $0.69, nice. So a total of $28.29. Removing the withholding tax of $4.24, we land at $24.5. Alright, that's the first week. So, summing up the first week and the monthly total so far, we land at $141.92. For the second week, I received 8 payments. First out is JPMorgan US Equity Premium Income ETF, ticker JEPI or JEIP. I only bought this once, just after their launch, and the performance hasn't been that great. Fortunately, it's a very small position in my portfolio. I just wish we could get a decent S&P 500 covered call ETF. My 36 shares each paid me $0.1926, and without any taxes, we land at $6.93. The twin brother for this ETF is up next. JPMorgan Nasdaq Equity Premium Income ETF, ticker JEPQ or JEQP. This is also a one-time buy, and after owning it for a year now, I like this one better than JEPI, since at least the yield is higher, cushioning the downside this one has. My 36 shares each paid me $0.2771, so we land at a total of $9.97. Now, let's check out the older brother in the family. JPMorgan Global Equity Premium Income ETF, ticker JEPG or JGPI. It is my biggest position, but it's not far away from my second biggest position. But that's a topic for another video. I like this one, since otherwise I wouldn't have so much capital allocated in this. My 480 shares each paid me $0.162, so we get a grand total of $77.76. Always nice to get that high income monthly. Moving on to another ETF family. Global X S&P 500 Covered Call ETF, ticker XYLU or XY7D. Now, I said I wish we could get a decent S&P 500 Covered Call ETF, and this is the best in slot as for now, at least with monthly distributions. Their option strategy, however, is a bit too aggressive, but it has performed decently for me at least. My 210 shares each paid me $0.132, so we land at $27.72 and no taxes. Let's check this ETF's brother. Global X Nasdaq 100 Covered Call ETF, ticker QYLD or QYLE. This one has performed as expected. The yield is high and the price returns aren't that awful. My 196 shares each paid me $0.1668, so a total of $32.69, and again no taxes. Thank you very much. Let's move on with the sin stock. British American Tobacco, ticker BTI for the ADR on the New York Stock Exchange, or BAT on the London Stock Exchange. Just 2 years ago, it was considered a yield trap. Since then, the price has doubled. I wish I added more back then. However, my 143 shares each paid me $0.8234, so a total of $117.74. And that is tax-free as well, since it's a British company. Up next, a Swedish covered call ETF. Montrose Global Monthly Dividend ETF, ticker MONTDIV on the Stockholm Stock Exchange. Now, I might sound like a grumpy grandpa here, But I am pretty disappointed with this one. They pay 0.5% of the ETF's price each month, so around a 6% yield annually. The thing I really can't grasp is why the performance is so sluggish. There are funds who have a higher yield and better performance. So even though they are very conservative with the option strategy, the share price is still below the inception price. The underlying index is up about 7.5% over a year, and I would be fine if Montrose underperformed that with a high yield. Maybe the fund pockets the difference from the options. Anyway, my 309 shares each paid me 0.4486, so a total of 138.62 Swedish crowns. Converting it to freedom units, we land at $15.35. Time for the last payment for this week. Vårenergi, ticker VAR on the Oslo Stock Exchange, or VARRY for the American ADR version. This is a low-cost oil producer from Norway. It has a very high yield, usually in the range of 13 to 15%. So, my 970 shares each paid me 1.209 Norwegian crowns, so a total of 1,172.73 Norwegian crowns. I do have to pay a 25% withholding tax on Norwegian stocks, in this case 293.80 Norwegian crowns. So we get 879.55. Converting it to dollars, the US dollar is 9.45 in Norwegian crowns. We land at a total of $93.07. Summing up the second week, we land at $381.23. Adding it up to the monthly total so far, we land at $523.15. Before moving on, if you enjoy my work, make sure to like, comment and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. Thank you. For the third week, I received one payment. Realty Income, ticker O. The monthly income company. They really took off this year. They are currently up almost 19%. I'm still holding and waiting for a better opportunity. My 111 shares each paid me 0.27, so a total of $29.97. But after removing the tax of $4.5, we land at $25.47. Since it was only one payment this week, let's just add it to the monthly total. And we land at $548.62. For the fourth week, I received two payments. First out is HAN ETF, Infrastructure Capital Preferred Income ETF. You might think I've gotten a stroke, but no, they actually paid twice this month. It is kind of irritating. It messes with my OCD. I think since they always pay on the last day of the month, and for me, international payments takes a few days to land. And February being short, they paid out earlier. So I guess I won't get paid in March then. Anyway, my 310 shares each paid me 0.1339, and with no taxes we land at $41.5 yet again. Alright, next is the last dividend payment for the month, but not the last payment. Aker BP, ticker AKRBP on the Oslo Stock Exchange, or AKRBY for the American ADR version. Another low-cost oil producer. This one is a lot bigger and the yield is a bit lower. My yield on cost is a bit over 12%. My 103 shares each paid me 6.2942 Norwegian crowns, so a total of 648.3 Norwegian crowns. After removing the tax of 162.07, we land at 486.23 Norwegian crowns. Converting it, we land at $51.45. Let's do the last payment before adding it all up to the monthly total. The last payment is interest from my savings account. I get a low 1.3% interest with monthly payouts, but I do have to pay a 30% tax on that. I got 44.31 Swedish crowns in interest. Removing 13.29, we land at 31.02 Swedish crowns. Converting it to dollars, we land at $3.43. Summing up the 4th and 5th week, we land at $96.38. Adding it all up to the grand total for the month, we get an even $645. Very nice. Now let's compare that to last year's February. In my dividend tracker, I track every single payment I get. So last year, I got paid 3,852.56 Swedish crowns. That's 426.64 in today's dollar value. So we calculate the difference in income, 51.18%. Wow, that's a pretty big gain. Scrolling down to my monthly income chart, we can see the current year in red. Next month number to beat is 3,709.82 Swedish crowns, or 410.83 in dollars. Do you think we will be able to beat it? Make sure to tune in for that, since I do believe March will be a great month for income. I want to know how your month was. What was the biggest dividend payment, and are there any stocks or ETFs we share? Let me know in the comments. But that's it for today, guys. I will see you in the next one. Until then, stay smart, stay patient, and keep stacking those dividends. Ha det gött!